there, it's Carol with Carolbcrafts. Today we'll be making project number 2 in my Ghoulish Goodies Create Kit. This kit is available through October 15th, 2020. And if you're watching this after that date, check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to see what current Create Kit I'm offering. Now, if you don't have the Create Kit, that's all right. I will give you the dimensions as we go along, and you can use the supplies that you have at home. Now, this is what they call a tri-fold shutter card, and I'll confess this is actually the first one of these cards I've made. I've seen several different versions, and so this is kind of one that I came up with by watching other videos on YouTube. So this is a fun Halloween card that you can give to someone to brighten their day. So let's get started making our card. So from your kit, you're going to need some, well, let's talk about the papers. You're going to need 3 papers, and depending on how, what order you did the projects in, yours may look like this, they may not. But we're going to use the Pretty Peacock. We're going to use this terracotta tile, and it has, well, that's Cajun Craze, I think. Sorry, I think that's a Cajun Craze with some roses and spider webs. Kind of interesting pattern. And this is Blackberry Bliss with spiders. Ooh, good for Halloween. So those are the papers that we're going to be using for this project. For your cardstock, you're going to need some Pretty Peacock, and I'm not sure which ones we'll need. You don't want to use this piece. This piece is for a different project. It's for one of our bag projects. So don't use this piece. That is 4 1/4 by 11. We're using that for something else. So take your Pretty Peacock from one of these 2 pieces. I'll give you the dimensions in a minute. And then we got a black. I give you 2 of these. You could make 2 cards then. One in case you have a problem with the measurements and have to do a second one. But you need one that is, this piece is 6 by 12. We'll actually be cutting it down to 5.5 by 12 in a minute. So that's going to be our card base. And then you'll have a basic black. You'll just need some basic black to cut to other sizes. And you'll need your Very Vanilla. These 2 pieces we'll use in another project. So we'll bring in our Very Vanilla. So let's go ahead and get our cutter. Here's our paper trimmer and our paper cardstock going everywhere. That's not unusual. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this in camera for you so that you can see what's going on. And I think I've already lost a piece of my paper. There it is under my trimmer. Okay, that in camera? Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's cut the base first. This is 6 by 12, and we know we want this to be 5.5 by 12. So we'll go ahead and cut this. Have to get my trimmer straightened out here. 5.5. So we'll cut that, and then like I said, I give you 2 in case you have a problem going, doing what we need to do to cut. And you're going to need a piece of basic black, 4 1/4 by 5.5, just one, and I think this is 4 1/4. It is, so I'm just going to cut that at 5.5. Basically a 1/4 sheet of basic black. So 4 1/4 by 5.5. Put that in our cut pile. That is the only black we need, other than the other one we just cut. Pretty Peacock. We need a piece that is 3.5 by 1.5, and I think we can get it out of this. Oh yeah. So I'm going to cut 3.5 here, And then I'm going to cut 1.5. Is that correct? 3.5 by 1.5. I'm just going to go with it. Let's hope. Let's hope that's right. Okay, so these two pieces we can put in our bag. We don't need this piece here. That's our pretty peacock, very vanilla. We need a 1/4 sheet of very vanilla. So that would be 5.5 by 4.25. 4.25 right there. All right, so we just need a 1/4 sheet of very vanilla, and that's just regular very vanilla. That's not the thick very vanilla. Okay, looking at my PDF, I realized that we also need this sheet of DSP. So this sheet of DSP is going to be, we need one piece that's 3 7/8 by 1 5/8. So I'm going to cut this at 1 5/8. 1 5/8 across like this. So there's my 1 5/8. Now I'm going to cut my 3 7/8. Okay, so I have a piece that I cut from my 6x6, 3 7/8 by 1 5/8. This we can put in our bag. So here's our other DSP. For our pretty peacock, we need 2 pieces, 3 7/8 by 1 3/4, and 2 pieces at 1 7/8 by 1 5/8. So this is 3.5. So if you want to cut a piece 3.5 by 6, we'll start out with a piece that's 3.5 by 6. We're going to trim that to 3 7/8 right here, this way, 3 7/8, and then we're going to trim it at 1.5. No, 1 3/4. Sorry, 1 3/4. So we end up with 2 pieces, 1.5 by 3 7/8. Sorry, 1.5 by 3 7/8. So we need 2 pieces, 1.5 by 3 7/8. Then this piece that's left over, we want to cut it at, let me see what we have. That's 1 7/8 by 1 5/8. So we'll cut this at 1 7/8. One 7/8 by 1 5/8. It's a little bit of cutting, but we can do it. 1 5/8, and then 1 5/8 again. So with these pieces, we end up with 1 7/8 by 1 5/8, and this is basically what we started out with. I'm telling you that so that you can be frugal with your paper, because you need just about every inch of it. So hopefully you cut it right. With our spiders, we want our spiders kind of going up and down here. So we're going to, so this would be our top. We're going to cut 1 3/4 here. So we've cut 1 3/4, Now we're going to cut 1 7/8. So we got 1 7/8, 1 7/8, 1 7/8. Now we need one more, so we're going to take our piece of DSP here, and we're going to cut again at 1 3/4. 1 3/4. And then we're going to turn this around and do our 1 7/8. So this we're going to use later, so we'll put this in our bag. So we ended up with 4 pieces. That is a 1 7/8 across, 1 3/4 tall. All these spooky spiders. Then lastly, we have our Cajun Craze with the roses. It is going to be cut portrait, so you want your pattern going this way. And we're going to cut 2 pieces that are 1 7/8. So 1 7/8 here, 1 7/8, and 1 7/8. And then these pieces we're going to shorten. We're going to cut them at 5 3/8. So they're 6 across. Now we're going to cut it at 5 3/8. 5 3/8. So we end up with 2 pieces that are 1 7/8 by 5 3/8, and then this we'll put away for later. Okay, I hope that wasn't too confusing, but there's a lot of little pieces, and I always try to take my time when I cut my DSP because it can be kind of scary. If you cut it wrong, then you have to scramble and figure out what you're going to do to make it right. So we have our 5 1/2 by 6. So we're going to put this in our trimmer at 1 7/8. So I've got it at 1 7/8. Now on my trimmer has a ruler on it, but I can't hardly see it. So I need to put something under it. I'm just going to take my very vanilla and I'm going to cut like a 1/2 inch strip, maybe 3/8 inch strip, to be able to see those letters. It's actually numbers that I'm going to look for. All right, so I have this. I'm going to put it at 1 7/8 again this time, and then I'm going to slide this underneath. So I can see those letters, those numbers so well now. So I'm going to bring my blade here in the middle, kind of push it down. I'm going to slide up till my little arrow is at the 2. So I'm 2 inches from the top edge, and I'm going to bring it down till my little arrow is on the 10, and that would be 2 inches from the bottom. So I'm going to, you can see I've made a little slit there. Now I'm going to do the other side the same way. 1 7/8. Put it in there like that. Put my paper, I probably should put something there permanently, huh? And that would help, but I don't do this very often, so so my blade's in the middle, push it down, go all the way to 2, then back down to 10, and then pull it up. And now I have my 2 slits. So we're ready to do some scoring now. So we'll bring in our scoring tool, get it in focus here, and so I'm going to put this here horizontal, and it helps to have a ruler when you're doing this. Okay, so the first score I'm going to do is at 4, and I'm only going to score the center. So I'm going to follow that down and score at 4. All right, then I'm going to flip it over. This is my front. Flip it over to the back and score at 8 in the center. So find my 8 and then score here. Okay, we're going to flip it back over to the front, and we're going to score at 2. 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, but not the center. We're going to flip it over to the back. We're going to score at 4 at the top and 4 at the bottom. And there's my 4. I'm going to score the top piece, but skip the middle and then score at the bottom. Flip it back over to the front. We're going to score at 8. We're going to score the top and the bottom. Flip it back over, and we're going to score 10 at the top and 10 at the bottom. Okay, so that's our scoring. And the reason I had you flip, flip, flip is because you have to score, you have to fold these a certain way. And if you score them a certain way, they fold so much easier. So when you score, you want to fold away from you. So I'm going to grab my bone folder here. Before I crease my folds, I'm just going to find my folds. So if the valley is facing you, this is like the little hill, and this is the valley. So if you've got the front, you've got a valley, and this doesn't have any scoring on it. So we're going to take our first valley and kind of crease away from us, and crease away from us. Here's another valley. We'll crease that away. Okay, and then here is a hill, so we'll turn it over to the valley. Crease and crease. Our next one is like a little valley here, so we're going to pull that one away, push it away. This one is a hill, so we're going to do that. Another hill, so we're going to do that. So when you do that, and you kind of firm them up like this, it can be a little confusing at first, but if you give it time, it'll fall into place. Just do your creasing and it will fall into place, just like that. So I'm going to gently, I don't want to mar up my cardstock. Somehow I got some fuzz in there. I am doing this to, I don't want that sticking over, so I'm going to try to move that over a little bit. See if I can move that over a little bit. There we go. That works. Great. I'm going to turn it over on the back and do some more burnishing. All right, so this is our front, and here is our triple shutter card. Now we're going to decorate it. That's the fun part. But first we got to do some stamping. So we'll get our Stamparatus out. We're going to use basic black ink and Cajun Craze ink. We'll start with our basic black. We're going to get our Very Vanilla piece of Very Vanilla, and we're going to stamp a kitty, and then we'll be die cutting it, and then we're going to stamp the sentiment, and we're going to die cut that. Let's see. I don't know that we need to do anything special before we stamp. So we're going to use the kitty and the most spooktacular time of the year. I just love this little kitty. And these sayings are cute too that go with this set. So we'll start with the kitty. And like I said, we're going to be die cutting that with one of our Ornate Frames dies. Now I have re-inked this and it is not doing well. I don't know if I did something wrong or what, but it is, it's working. It's just taking me some time to get a rich image. Maybe I'll leave that off. It's making an awful lot of noise. Okay, I think one more time should do it. You probably will not have to do this. I may just end up buying a new pad, I think, because this is just not working out for me. The next thing we're going to do is our sentiment, and we're going to use Cajun Craze for that. And since I'm going to be die cutting it, I'm just going to put it down here. Make sure it's the right direction. So just need to make sure you leave enough room to die cut it with that die. And get my Cajun Craze out. There we go. Okay, we've got the most spectacular time of the year. Now, I did not put on the back. I saw some people put something on the back. So I think I will put something on the back for this. And so we'll need to cut quickly another piece of Very Vanilla. Let me clean this off. And I'm going to use on the back To a Frightfully Good Friend. So let me cut a piece of Very Vanilla. Just quickly put this here. I already measured it. We need 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. So I'm going to do 1 3/4 this way. And 1 3/4 this way. I'm going to actually do 2. I'm going to put one on the other card that I did originally. 3 3/4 this way. So I got 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. 3 3/4. All right, I'm going to stamp those with the sentiment. To a Frightfully Good Friend. That's kind of an afterthought. So sorry that it's kind of disjointed. Now, this one I'm probably going to want it to be like centered because it's not going to be die cut. So I'm going to use my plastic and hope I don't knock everything over. So here's my plastic. And I'm going to stamp. I'm going to stamp on the edge over here so I can just kind of slide it under. To a Frightfully Good Friend with my Cajun Craze. That's a 4x6 piece of window sheet, or you can use some of your plastic from your photopolymer stamps. I'm just going to slide this. Do I want it in the corner and then I can sign my name? I think that would be good. Okay, that one's ready to stamp. Move my plastic out of the way, but not get ink on anything. Be careful. That's good enough. So that's one, and then I'm going to do that again. I'll use that same piece of plastic to line up my cardstock, and I'll go ahead and put that down, remove the plastic, stamp, ink up my stamp, and we'll put this down. I might do that one more time, just lightly. Okay, now we're done with our stamping and our cutting. We clean this off. Put this away. Need to clean off my plastic too before I get ink on everything. So let's do some die cutting. We don't need to die cut these, they're going to go on the back. I did get some ink there, but that's okay. I don't need that. Now, I forgot to tell you, we're going to be using the Ornate Frames dies. And of course you already saw that we're using the Ghoulish Goodies stamps. But in case you didn't know, we are using the Ornate Frames dies, and this is from last year's Halloween suite, and it's just awesome, awesome, awesome. Different sizes, they kind of coordinate together and work together. And this class really shows how they do work together. So this little thing here, the larger one, there's two that are shaped kind of like that. The larger one we're going to use for our kitty. We might color our kitty first, huh? We probably should. And then this one is going to be die cut with this. The most spooktacular time of the year. Okay. Now I mentioned that maybe we should go ahead and color. So I'm going to grab out my Stampin' Blends. I'm going to use dark Daffodil Delight for the eyes to the kitty. I'm going to use Ivory Stampin' Blend for the nose. I'm going to use light shaded spruce for the medallion, a little pendant. I'm going to use dark Cajun Craze for the collar. There's our little kitty. Now she's all ready to be die cut. I'm going to use some tape here to hold this in place. She's just so cute. All right, kitty. And then the most spooktacular time of the year. Get that centered. I'm going to run these through my new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I'll bring that in. And you may have seen this, you may have not. So that's plate 1, plate 2, plate 3. Plate 3 needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I'm going to put my dies cut side down, another plate 3, and I'm just going to run this through like this. And it runs through really easily. Don't have to struggle with it. So now we have these pieces. I think that's Oh, that's not all the die cutting we need to do. We need to do more die cutting. So I don't know why I'm putting my Stampin' Cut and Emboss away. So there's that. What else do we need to do? The little frame that's going to go behind there, and then there's a frame that goes behind there. So from our basic black cardstock, we had a piece that was basically a quarter sheet. We're going to cut all of these little like filigree type frames. And then there's this one here, has it kind of on the side, a little filigree. So we're gonna die cut all of those out of our basic black. So bring this in again, use the same sandwich as before. I'm just gonna lay these down here. I'm not even gonna tape them down. I'm just gonna lay those down there and run this through a couple times. This is a really detailed die, and so I'm gonna send it through. That's perfectly normal, by the way. Don't freak. That's one time through. And then that's one time, and then this last time here. All right. Here we go with our little frames. Get those off, because we do have something else we need to die cut. We need to die cut our piece of pretty peacock that we cut. And let me get our frames out here. We're going to die cut our pretty peacock out of this die here. It's the long label die. And you can see how versatile these labels are. They really are a good value. Many, many, many uses. All right, we have that one. Now I think that's all the die cutting that we have to do, because most of everything else is already die cut for you. So I'll get my dies out here out of the way. And got a lot of little pieces going everywhere. So I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool die brush. I'm just going to go over these gently. I don't want to put too much pressure on there. You shouldn't have to. There might be a few that you have to poke through, but not many. Okay, there's the one. This one has quite a bit, but the die brush makes quick work of it. So there's no worries there. Oh, all clean. And then lastly, this little one here. All right, we are ready to, I think we're ready to start putting our card together. I'm pretty sure we are. So here's our front. You can remember, I don't know if it really matters. It might be the same on both ways, depending on which way you hold it. So I'm going to get some, when we'll be working with paper, so I'm going to get some of this on my fingers so that I can actually pick the paper up. All right, so the first thing I noticed is I'm going to do the ends, and I'm going to use glue throughout to put this paper on. So here's all my paper. You find it all here. Try not to lose any. So this is going to go on this front right here. And I'm going to use my glue. Lots of dot in each corner and then along the edges, not too close to the edge. Make sure my roses are going in the direction I want them to. And I'm going to leave even spacing along each side. And that's what's good about the glue, is that you can move it around if you need to. Okay, so I've got that one done. Now I need to do here on this end, same thing. This is going to go right here. I got a little close to the edge there. I'll just take a piece of paper and kind of smear it. This is going to go here. Alrighty. Now this is to me this is kind of fun. It's like putting together a puzzle. So we have spider, 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 spider here. So we'll just put those in place with some glue. I'm going to make it so my spiders look like they're climbing up and down, not sideways. Okay, next. Try to stay in camera for you. I guess it would be smart to make sure that's right. Just do all 4 of them with glue and then put them on, huh? But this glue dries so quickly that I wouldn't want to attempt that, to be honest with you. Now you can use this card design for any occasion and multiple stamp sets and die sets. I've seen them done with butterflies, with flowers. And then for here, we've got this here, this here, this here, and this here. So we'll do that next. See all that cutting? It pays off. Now we have these nice little pieces that just fit perfectly in these places here in on our card. I don't usually send out a lot of Halloween cards, so I wanted to make this kit more about treats, because we do a lot more treat giving on Halloween than we do card giving, at least I do. And of course the first project that we did was a home decor project. So Halloween is good for home decor as well. So I hope you get to see project 1. Just search for it if you can't find it on my channel. And then lastly, the multicolored is going to go here. Okay, I'm going to get my glue off my fingers. Move that around a little, make sure it's straight across there. That looks better. So this little kitty, you don't have to do this, but you can get one of the sponges out of this sponge eyeshadow applicators. I'm going to use one that I've already used for my Cajun Craze. I got my Cajun Craze ink, and I'm just going to gently dab it and then go around the corners here to give this more of a spooky look, distressed spooky look. You don't have to do it very heavy because you don't want it to distract from the center. And that's that. Be sure not to get ink on anything. I'm trying to get that back over there. Okay, so now our kitty is ready to go on our frame. That ink might still be a little wet, so be careful with it that you don't smear it. Make sure my little kitty's centered. There she is. Now we're going to build this part right here. We're going to start out with this frame here. So we got this frame, then we're going to put this one, then we're going to put this one, get in camera, this one, this one, this one, and then this one in that order. So this one goes on top of that one. Very nice. This one goes on top of that. Just put a tiny little bit of glue on there. It's going to go in the center. Make sure that looks good, and it does. And this one's going to go on top of that. And this really shows you how these all can be worked together to create lots of awesome labels and places for you to put your sentiments for your cards. Okay, we'll let that dry a little bit. So you have a die cut bag, and I'm just going to suggest that you dump everything out. It might be the easier way to do it. So the little banner and this you can put back in your bag. The big label here you can put back. These tags can go back in there. You do need this. You need the big bat. You don't need the spiders. They can go back in there. But I think you do need these two bats here. I think you need the rest of the bats. Okay, you should have 12 bats, little bats. Let me make sure I have 12. Am I missing a bat? Where are you? 12th bat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, they're all there. So 12 little bats, 2 medium cut with glitter and 1 large cut with glitter. And the rest we'll need later, not for this project. And then you have a ribbon bag. You've got some terracotta tile piece of ribbon that is 8 inches, and I think this comes, I'm not sure, I'll put it on the screen, but it's 8 inches. You are going to need some of your black Stampin' dimensionals. You're going to need some of your small rhinestones. You're going to need some of your iridescent pearls. And I think that's all. So let's see. Let's start with our bats. And our 12 bats. Little bats. Well, let's start with our big bats, and then that will help us to know where our little bats go. All right, so we're going to put a big bat here in the center, right there, and that one's going to get glued on. So I'm going to glue that bat on. And these were cut with the Halloween magic dies, I believe. And that's like glitter paper. In the PDF, if you get the class kit or the Create kit, you will get the PDF with the supplies and dimensions. And these two medium ones are going to go here in the front. It's like that, and they're going to be put on with, what did I put them on with? Oh, I put them on with mini dimensionals. No, they are put on with glue dots. They are put on with glue dots. Oh, maybe glue. It looks like glue dots, but it's glue. Okay, so on the back of your glitter, you're going to put some glue. Sorry about that. And this one's just going to go in kind of facing the corner there. And then this one is going to do the same, facing the other corner. Like that. Good. They look pretty even. I'm going to call it even. Now we can deal with our little bats. Now, if you look at your bats, there's actually 3 sizes, but they're very close. So unless you put them together, you won't even notice that there's a large, a medium, and a small. So try to find them so that you can place them accordingly. Putting the large at the top. Should be 4 of each. 4 large, 4 medium, 4 small. The large and the medium are pretty much the same, but I mean they're close, but should still be able to tell the difference. And then small and small. So my 4 large ones are at the top, my medium ones are here in the center, and then these are my small ones. So let me take a look. It looks like we have a large, a medium, and 2 small right here. So, and you don't have to put yours in the exact same spot as I do. If you find something that you think looks better, you're welcome. Okay, so I have glue on my fingers and everything is sticking to them. All right, so let me look at this. Large, mediums going in that direction, and then the small, small. Small's going in that direction, in that direction. And this one needs to come over a little bit. All right. Now I am not going to glue those on. I'm going to use glue dots because I'll be here all night trying to glue these things. So the glue dot will go like right behind. And when you take it off, twist it off. And it probably would help to use take your pick tool to get it off, or any kind of pointy tool to get it off. So this guy's going to go in that direction in the center. Put my glue dot in the center behind that, behind the bat. This guy is going in this direction. Where's my glue dot? These are small, but you can still get them behind that glue dot. You can always push it behind. This guy is going to kind of this way. And where's your at? There's my glue dot. And this guy is going to kind of go this way. Whoops. All right, so that's those four. Now over here, I have a medium. So I'm going to get a medium and put it there. And it's flying in this direction. And I'm going to put a medium here. Behind the back. I'm going to have it flying in this direction. Okay, now I'm going to get a small one. One of the small guys, so looks like I just have large and small ones left now. And it's going to go up here at the top in this direction, flying in that direction. Down at the bottom, I have a large that's going to be flying in this direction. The opposite of the top one here. And then this one's going to fly in that direction, the opposite of that top one, another large one. It's going to go in this direction. And I have a few left, and the ones that I have left I'm going to put down here at the bottom. The larger ones are going to be over here to the right. I'll get back in camera. And then these two smaller ones are going to be there. So here's this one. And like I said, if you want to put yours different from mine, you can. If you think you like the way you have your bats, you want them flying differently, you can do that. Try to get that on there. Okay, come on. Come on. This one I have going here, and then this one I'm half flying going up. Okay, there's our bats. Now we're going to put our kitty cat here in the center of this line right here. Maybe I should have waited to put my bat on, but that's okay. I can move him around here just a little bit. Turn my tool, pull that up without tearing the paper. Sorry guys. Do you ever have to do this? I do it all the time. All right. There you go. Now he's out of the way. So I'm going to put this on with, I think, mini dimensionals. Yeah, I don't know how many. Let me see. It looks like I used 5 of the black mini Stampin' dimensionals. So where is, okay, so I'm going to put 5 of these on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And like I said, that's going to go in the center. Just like that. And now we can put our Spookiest Time of the Year. It's going to go in the center here. I'll put that on with glue. And be sure that it doesn't interfere with the movement here. It's just, I mean, it just fits. So you might have to adjust it if it interferes. Make sure it's level, because that's important before it dries. Okay. Probably not level as I'd like it, but yeah, that looks good. All right, so there's just a couple of things left we need to do. Our bats need some eyes, so we need, looks like we need 6, and I'm missing one. It must have come out in my bag. It surely did. There it is. I don't know if it doesn't have any sticky on it anymore. So I may have to use some glue on it. But first I'm going to have to color these with my bullet tip dark Cajun Craze Stampin' blends for the eyes. Maybe a little hard to color this one. I may wait till I get it on before I color it. Alright, so these are our bat eyes. Buggy-eyed bats. Trying to get them straightened out so they don't look so bug-eyed. And then we're going to put 2 on our big bat. 2 eyes on our big bat in the center. And I'm not real sure how I'm going to do this. I may put a tiny dot of glue there. I'm going to let that get sticky before I put that on. In the meantime, while that's getting sticky, and I realized I didn't put this little guy on there, or if I did, oh that's right, he was one of the ones I moved, and he is not sticking, so I'm going to put a new glue dot on him. Just turning this, and that glue dot comes right off. Put a new glue dot on him, or her. And this one was facing this direction. Okay, now I need 3 of the large iridescent pearls. The large ones are at this end. You have 8 large and the rest are small. So I need 3 of them. They're going to go, I'll put that in the center first, and then I'll put these so I can evenly space them from the edge. Try to get them level. Okay, so there's our 3 large iridescent pearls. Good. What else? So now we need to put these, this is also from the Halloween Night Magic. I'm going to, there's these little dot like knob things. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to cut on this side of the 4th one so that you have that. Then you're going to trim it so that it fits. So I need to trim a little off on this side and a little off on this side, and it should be the same width as your DSP, and it is the bottom is 7/8 from the bottom of this is 7/8 from the bottom of the card. So I'm just going to put some glue here. I guess I could use, well, no, glue dots probably wouldn't be a good choice. So I'm going to measure. If you have a pencil, you could always use a pencil too. All right, so that's that side, 7/8 from the bottom. Make sure that's level. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Okay, that looks level. And then this one, we're going to just kind of measure. I'm thinking just measure it and cut till it fits your paper. That's good. Again, 7/8 from the bottom. So it should be the same width as your paper. Okay, that's 7/8 from the bottom. And it's even with my paper. Whoops. It's also sticky. I can come back later and clean that up with an eraser, a clean eraser. All right, so while that's drying, we need to do a little, oh, my glue. Is my glue still gooey here? Let's hope so. I'm going to put my other eye, if I can turn it around, right there. Yeah, it's sticky enough. I'll let that dry a little more before I try to color it. Meanwhile, I will tackle this bow. So with this bow, you're going to take a loop and a loop like that. Come get this. So I've got my 2 loops. Make sure I have plenty of moving space here. Take my 2 loops. This one I'm going to cross over and make an X like that. Then I'm going to take this part and push it through this hole right here, just like this. And once I push it through that hole, I'm going to pull it, and that will make my little bow. That's an easy way to make a small bow, because it's hard to sometimes get a bow that's little. And that's about the size that I want. You can decide which side you like. If you like this side better, you can use that side. I think I will. I'm going to trim it like this. I think I trimmed that one too long. Okay, that's a little bit there. Now I'm going to put that on with the glue dot for sure, a couple of glue dots. So get my glue dots on the back. Just putting it on a glue dot and pinching it. And it's going to go here in the center of my this border thing that I put on. Border thing. Okay, I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. Oh no, I gotta color this eye. This guy's eye here. He's gonna have one eye, one color, and one the other if I don't. Oh, you know what else we gotta do? Glitter. We gotta get our Wink of Stella. And I'm gonna try to get some of this here. My Wink of Stella. Get it going. Color my bats with my Wink of Stella. Give them a little bit of blingy bling. They don't have to be perfect. It just keeps them from looking so flat and uninteresting. And this is fun and easy to do, and it adds so much to the card. I could put a second coat on it too later, I think, when it dries, if I want. I might do that. All right, there's our card, and almost. What am I thinking? All right, so we're gonna put this on our back here. Is that the right? It's a little bit wide. I think I gave you the wrong dimensions. We need to cut off about 1/8 of an inch. Because that center one isn't 2 inches. That center one is 1 7/8. So we need to make this 1 5/8 instead of 1 3/4. So 1 5/8. And yep, 1 5/8 will do it instead of 1 3/4. Sorry about that, guys. I hadn't done it before, and I forgot that that middle section wasn't 2 inches. It's 1 7/8. So here's this. It's going to go on the back with some glue. And this gives you something to write a little note on to your person that you're sending it to. There. Now it is finished. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting me by earning your customer reward. Check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to see what current customer reward create kit I'm offering. Thanks for watching. Bye now.